Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the San Diego Chargers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's a spectacular fall afternoon in western Pennsylvania. Game time temperature 77 degrees. Absolutely perfect conditions for a matchup between two struggling teams. Both have had the same problems, putting points on the board. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Three Rivers Stadium. I'm Joel Myers alongside Ahmad Rashad. The big story in Pittsburgh and also around the NFL, Ahmad. When will the Steelers' offensive unit finally score a touchdown?
Boy, there has been so much said about Joe Walton's offense and his terminology, but let me simplify this for you at home because I've been through this. All of a sudden, for all your life, you know, this is your right hand. Well, all of a sudden in Walton's offense, this becomes your left hand. Now, when I call an audible, your left foot becomes your left ear. So I want you to touch your right hand to your left ear without thinking, just react. It's very hard to do, not for one guy, but for 11 guys.
In our meeting yesterday with Steelers head coach Chuck Noll, he said he's trying to simplify things, get back to the basics.
I think when you talk about simplifying an offense, it means running the football. And when you got a back like Tim Worley, I have a feeling that Pittsburgh is going to try to run Tim Worley more and try to get the ball to Louis Phillips. These are two-star players.
The Pittsburgh Steelers last Sunday in their matchup with the Miami Dolphins gave up 5 quarterback sacks of Bubby Brister. If they thought they had a problem last Sunday, it's going to be a bigger dilemma against the San Diego Chargers, who always get to the quarterback.
And the way they get to the quarterback, they got 3 all-pro players in Burt Grossman, Lee Williams, and Leslie O'Neal. These guys play as well as anybody in football, and they give you a lot of different fronts, and that should also confuse Bubby Brister.
And offensively for the San Diego Chargers, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have sputtered, losing and scoring only 7 points to the Houston Oilers last week. And they're going with a second-year quarterback in Billy Joe Tolliver. Only his 9th career start, Ahmad.
Well, not only is San Diego inexperienced at quarterback, but they have a completely inexperienced offense. So they've got to try to cut down on some mistakes and try to win by just becoming veteran players right away.
John Carney, the newcomer to the San Diego Chargers, kicking it away and really getting into it. That's the way to take Rod Woodson out of the game in the returns. He's disappointed without an opportunity. The NFL return kickoff champion last year will have to settle for a touchback. The offensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers, essentially what you saw last year, a team that went to the playoffs with the exception of the left guard Blankenship, filling in for the injured John Rainstrom. And behind that big offensive line, Bubby Brister getting the start once again. A lot of people thought maybe Rick Strom would be seen. Tim Worley in the backfield. He's disappointed with the amount of opportunities he's seen so far. And when they go to their ace alignment, Worley will leave. The extra tight end Terry O'Shea comes in to join Lips, Hill, and Malarkey. First give goes to Worley, and he is stacked up right at the 21-yard line. The defensive front seven for the San Diego Chargers, a very effective group. We talked about the sack masters, William, Grossman, and O'Neal. They also have a rookie from USC starting at inside linebacker, Junior Seau. When the Chargers go to their dime alignment, the extra down lineman coming in will be George Hinkle. The extra defensive backs, Donald Frank and Lester Lyles, joining the regular foursome in the secondary, Gilbert, Sam Seal, Martin Bayless, and Vincie Glenn. Green and Malarkey, a 2 tight end set in there. The only wideout is Derek Hill. Merrill Hodge on the carry. And obviously, the Steelers want to get the running game going early, but it is not looking effective after only 2 snaps. 14 rushing attempts, the lowest in franchise history last week in the loss to the Miami Dolphins, but they were behind 21-0 very early in that game.
Yeah, very misleading stat, because when you get behind, you know, 21-0, you don't have a chance to run the ball. You got to try to throw the ball to get back into the game. That's something they're going to try to avoid here by at least getting positive yardage on 1st and 2nd down, which they really did do. Now they've got to throw the ball.
Whitestone in there, the extra wide receiver. On 3rd and 6 from the 24. Bristers, the pocket starts to collapse. Can he run for the first down? I believe he got to it. Yes, he's out of bounds across the 30. And I believe he's got it just barely.
One of the things that you got to take advantage of when you got a quarterback like Bubby Brister is his running ability. He is very mobile as a quarterback. He looks downfield. His receivers aren't getting open in time, so he just takes off running. And when you got a guy like that, throw a couple of plays in there, let him run it.
And Donald Frank at the end of that play, hitting him on the sideline, the cornerback got him around the knee. It looked like Bubby Brister was limping a little bit after that run.
I think just a little bit of Charlie Horse. If you're going to run the ball, you're going to get some bruises, and Donald Frank bruised him right there.
Bubby Brister is a battler, but now it appears that he's going to have to depart. Rick Strom is the backup quarterback in his second year from Georgia Tech. He was undrafted out of college, signed as a free agent with the Steelers, was actually cut at the end of training camp last year and was brought back.
I think Bubby's all right. He just took a little shot. But those are the dangers of running that football. Once the quarterback comes out of that pocket and starts running, he's a halfback, and he's going to be subject to all defensive players trying to take a shot at him.
When I asked Bubby about the play of the offensive line yesterday, he said, in relationship to Reinstra going out, Blankenship coming in, he said, if anybody else is gone on the offensive line on Sunday, please call me an ambulance.
You see, right at the end of the play, Brister sort of falls on his knee. So I think that was just more so a bruise, if anything else. And he's back in the huddle. That was interesting. Bubby said that, but then Chuck Noll came back and said, no, we're fine in the offensive line. Of course, Chuck didn't have to take the snaps.
Exactly that. So it's a first down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very early last week, they had to wait until their last possession of the first half before they got a first down against the Miami Dolphins. And now confusion and frustration. They had to use one timeout already.
There's that right is left, left is right analogy that I used earlier. It's just little teeny things that when you make those kind of mistakes, you know, those are things that are going to kill you.
A delay of game call against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Still first down.
Joe Walton still wondering what is going wrong with this system.
And Joe trying to, you know, Joey's got to show a lot of patience too. This is a tough situation for everybody involved. Joe knows his situation, his offense works. It's just you got to get 11 guys that are going to go out there and try to make it work. It is a little bit confusing, but once a team can get it down, Joe has proven that the offense is successful. 1st and
15 now. It's going to Worley, and it doesn't work. It's only a gain of a yard to the 26-yard line. Well, you have to accept the system. And I think when we met with Tunch Ilkin, the all-pro tackle on the outside for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he said, we have to look at ourselves now. The system's not going anywhere. We have to accept it and assume that responsibility. Tim Worley, he wanted out just a couple of weeks ago.
I think he wanted out because he wanted to carry the ball a little bit more. Any running back, the stature of Tim Worley, needs about 20 or 30 carries every ball game to feel like he's done anything.
Brister's throwing on 2nd and 14. The dump off to Worley. Well diagnosed by San Diego. Martin Bayless over there covering the back of the flat. And it's only out to the 29-yard line. Bayless there. Junior Seau also the inside linebacker. Only 3 players have scored for the Steelers over the first 4 games this year. Rod Woodson on a punt return, David Johnson on an interception return, and Gary Anderson with 6 field goals and 2 extra points.
Gary Anderson probably getting a lot of ice time after the games with that tired leg.
3rd better than 11. Brister on the deep drop, pressured, going for his man out of the backfield. It's complete. Richard Bell, the rookie from Nebraska's got it. A Steeler first down in Charger territory.
And that's exactly what this Steeler offense needs. They just need a big play. In talking to Bubby Brister and Joe Walton yesterday, we both agreed that all they needed for something big to happen, and that sort of brings on more big things to happen. That was a big play right there, and Brister right on target.
Well, they almost got to Brister. He released it just barely in time.
Well, you see Leslie O'Neal, who's one of the best defensive linemen in the business. You see him get by and just get to Brister just before he lets that ball go, but Brister's still able. He's a big, strong guy, still able to hang in there and fire the ball.
2 tight end set once again for Brister, who's throwing on 1st and 10. And he was going for Malarkey, but there's a flag down. Henry Rolling, the outside linebacker, was defending on the play. It probably wouldn't have been brought down by Malarkey, but Rolling was making sure that he couldn't go up to get it.
Well, that was obviously pass interference. Malarkey had him beat. Ball was thrown a little bit out front.
Holding, 57 defense, 5 yards, first down.
And the smart thing to do when you beat, you just grab the guy. You see Henry Rolling there. He's all over Malarkey way before that ball gets there. He's got that left hand on his back, and he is caught in the act.
Ahmad, I am surprised that cornerbacks aren't instructed more often. If somebody is racing downfield, they've got the cornerback is already beaten, and it's a 50, 60-yard potential play. Grab his jersey. It's only going to be a 5-yard penalty.
Smart ones do that. It's hard to think, though, when you're getting beat.
Louis Lips got it. And Lips has 9 on the reception. Down to the 35-yard line. Pulled it off in front of Sam Seal. Lips from Southern Mississippi in his 7th season.
Louis Lips is a guy that you got to get the ball to. He's one of the best in the business. He should be catching 8-10 balls a game because he has great running ability after he catches the ball. Right there, he gets a nice little greeting from Junior Seau.
Well, we talked to Louis yesterday. He was excited about this game because of the chances the San Diego Chargers take. He figured the Steelers to move it, they'd have to go up top.
Well, with all the blitzing and all the things they do up front, they end up in man-to-man a lot. That means get the ball to Lips.
First down for Tim Worley and the Steelers.
And looking at the Steeler offense, you got guys like Louis Lips and Tim Worley. They must touch the ball. And when you talk about them not scoring any points, well, these are your big players. They must touch that football.
Dan Henning, when we spoke with the Chargers head coach yesterday, was very disappointed with the play of his defense, secondary in particular, last Sunday's loss to the Houston Oilers.
You like the defense, though.
Giving up 29 first downs. Bubby Brister now is 3 of 3, but when I asked Dan Henning about his defense, he said, we are very deficient right now in the secondary.
You tried to be nice to him by saying his defense played pretty well.
Well, they haven't given up many points this year. The most that has been scored against this defense, 21 by the Cincinnati Bengals. Brister throwing it over the head of Dwight Stone by a good 20 yards. Stone quit. It stopped on the pattern while Brister thought he was going to go down to the corner.
Well, there was a little bit of confusion there in that play, but even had he kept running, he'd have had to go up in the stands to catch that one. Just a little bit of confusion. You see them getting it together now. You see Bubby dropping back, looking downfield, and he obviously expected his receiver to keep running. And those are the kind of things that the Steelers are going to have to iron out in order to become a successful offense. But right now, this is a pretty good drive.
First miss of the day. This is the 10th play of the drive. First miss of the day for Bubby Brister, who's now 3 of 4 for 31 yards. Worley gets the call on 2nd and 10. Very little. So he tried to turn it in. The corner was taken away. Lee Williams turned it in on the outside, the defensive end. And it's a gain down to the 28-yard line. A gain of only about 3.
And Tim Worley came out of Georgia, basically a running back, but you see he's caught a few passes. Talking to Tim the other day, we asked him about that wanting to be traded. He said, man, I just want the ball. I need to carry the ball. As we get a look, there's Joe Green, one of the great players to have ever played in this league. He is the defensive line coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
4 wide receivers in there now for the Steelers on 3rd and 7. And it's an impressive start for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A couple of big completions on 3rd down by Bubby Brister. Now when we come back, they're going to be facing a 3rd and 7 at the 28 of San Diego. Good news for Steeler fans on their opening possession of the day. They have taken it now from their own 20-yard line down to the San Diego 28 with 9:04 left in the first 15 minutes of play. And welcome back to Three Rivers. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. This offensive group we're looking at right now basically without a change in the starting lineup from last season's playoff team. He's averaging only 175 yards of total offensive game. A little over 3 yards per play. 62 of the 175 coming on the ground. Right now, though, they are facing a 3rd and 7. They're 2 of 2. The early going and 3rd down conversions. The 11th play of the drive. Right Stone's the motion man. Brister with pressure. He had no chance. He wanted Hill, who was breaking in. Stone was going past the cornerback on the near side. But again, that pressure, and I saw Leslie O'Neal, one of the first ones in there.
They expected the blitz. Bubby knows there's a blitz. He knows he's got to get the ball away, but Hill's got to get his head turned around quicker. You got to get turned around. Somebody's got to turn around quicker. And you see Leslie O'Neal coming from the top of your screen. And Vincey Glenn coming right up the middle. Anytime that you have a blitz situation, there's a chance to make a touchdown, but all your offensive players have to be on the same page.
Gary Anderson with a field goal try from 45 yards. It's on its way, and it's good. So Gary Anderson with his 7th field goal of the campaign and an all-elusive first TD for the offensive unit. Still in search for Pittsburgh Steelers fans. We'll be right back to Three Rivers as the Steelers are on the board.
And by Miller Genuine Draft. Cold filtered for real draft taste. So get out of the old, get into the cold.
Gary Anderson gets into it, and Donald Frank will return it to the San Diego Chargers effectively across the 30. But the Chargers will have it offensively for the first time today at their own 36-yard line, and Gary Anderson, the place kicker, had to make this stop. not the ultimate for Pittsburgh. Offensive line, one of the youngest in the NFL, protecting Billy Joe Tolliver. Man in the middle is Frank Cornish, a rookie from UCLA. Courtney Hall, only a second-year pro, over at the left guard spot. And the offensive set, Caravello's the H-back. Wide receivers, Anthony Miller, one of the very best in the league. And when they go to their extra wideout set, Caravello will depart. Butts will also lead. McEwen, Harmon, and Quinn Early enter the contest. 1st and 10, Marion Butts gets it and goes absolutely nowhere. He's stopped right at the line of scrimmage by David Little, one of the real emotional leaders, along with Lorenzo Freeman, who's backing up Gerald Williams at the nose guard spot today. Looking at the front 7 now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Little, Nickerson, their inside backers. And when they go to their dime alignment, the extra defensive backs coming in. Aaron Jones, the extra down lineman, the extra D-backs. Woodruff and Griffin joining Johnson, Woodson, Lake, and Thomas Everett in the secondary. 2nd and 10 now, right at the 36-yard line of the Chargers. Marion Butts with a huge hole, and he's on his way for a first down for San Diego. He's got about 12 on the carry. Out to the 48-yard line. The free safety had to make the hit.
Marion Butts is a wonderful running back. You talk to some of the coaches. Here's a guy that has great work habits, goes 100% all the time. They say he runs this hard in practice every day. He's one of those guys, if you don't get out of the way, boy, he will run over you. Said he doesn't want to waste a lot of time trying to throw a lot of moves at you. He just wants to run over the top of you.
And Walter Wilson, the rookie wide receiver, took quite a hit at the end of the play. He's the injured Charger down on the field.
As we take a look at Walter Wilson, number 84, we want to show you a shot. He got hurt on the last play, but it's one of the things that you never want to be standing around at the end of a pile, at the end of the play. You got to keep your feet moving.
1st and 10 from the 48. Butts breaks the containment. Marion Butts with another first down for San Diego. Inside the Steelers 40, down to the Pittsburgh 38 on a carry of 14 yards. Another look, Ahmad, at the way he got hit and rolled over at the end of the play.
Well, the trick is you always want to keep your feet moving at the end. Watch number 84 right here. He gets bent over one way and just, I mean, he's lucky to get up walking after that. It looked like he might have had a knee problem at that point, but you always want to keep your feet moving, and the most dangerous part of the play is right at the end.
Another first down for San Diego. He started back at their own 36. Tolliver with all day to throw, and he's got his receiver Quinn Early inside the 10. He is upended down inside the 7-yard line by David Johnson. But he hit his receiver right in stride.
He's very lucky that this ball didn't go back the other way. It appeared to me that David Little had a shot to catch this ball. Watch David Little, number 50, right through David Little's hands. That ball is lucky to be going that direction, but a great play.
So now it's 1st and goal at the 7-yard line for the San Diego Chargers. They scored only 7 points all game against the Houston Oilers. They're trying to match that right now. The early going against the Steelers. Butts weaving his way inside the 5, down to the 3. Hardy Nickerson tripping up the running back. Marion Butts is such a punishing, powerful runner. Billy Joe Tolliver said yesterday he's refreshing. He doesn't know how good he really is.
I think he knows how good he is. I mean, he may be the only one. Dan Henning also knows how good he is. He said that he was a blocking back for Sammy Smith while in college. Never got a chance to run the ball very much, and it saved his body. Now he figures he can play a lot longer in the pros. But boy, he is a punishing runner. A lot of speed, excellent power.
2nd and goal from the 3. Butts the single set, gets the call again. Rams it ahead near the 1-yard line. Oh, talking about Marion Butts, he was not even a starting fullback his senior season at Florida State. He was a backup. He was the 2nd string fullback. He blocked for Sammy Smith. He only had 39 carries in his senior season. And he said he didn't even think he was going to be drafted. He was a special team player for the most part. What a blossoming career, though, in his 2nd year. Last year, he went over 600 yards. And leading the San Diego Chargers on the ground. 3rd and goal now from the 1 for the Chargers. They come out in the I. Play action for Tolliver. He's got a man wide open. Touchdown. The San Diego Chargers score on their first drive of the day, and taking it in, Gary Plummer, who is on the outside setting up like a tight end. The defensive player, the linebacker.
From ground level, you see Plummer was a lead back in that blocking situation. He just fakes a block, ends up wide open and outside of the end zone, and Billy Joe Tolliver puts it right on him.
Showed
There's
good hands.
Plummer, number 50.
Good hands for a guy that usually plays defense.
Well, all linebackers were fullbacks at one point in their career, so I'm sure he's caught the ball a few times.
Carney, perfect on the extra point. And the Chargers take it from their own 36 into the end zone to start the day.
Here you see on this goal line play, number 50, Gary Plummer lining up in the lead back position. His job is to block number 37, Carnell Lake. He fakes the block, runs out in the flat, and makes a very nice catch and a nice run. I'm sure he's going to go back and tell the coach to put me in at fullback, coach, or wide receiver. I can do more than play.
John Carney kicking it away to Rod Woodson, who takes it to the 1-yard line. Woodson across the 20, tripped up at the 23-yard line. That is the first offensive play in the career of Gary Plummer, and it goes for a touchdown.
Well, like I said, he was on his way over telling the coach he can do more than play inside linebacker. He can play fullback or wide receiver.
A look at scores around the NFL in week number 5. Look at that Houston score early at the Astrodome.
Big 14. So Seattle, big lead over New England.
Coming off a Monday night win over the Bengals, looking for their second straight. New Orleans and Atlanta are tied in the early going. Here at Three Rivers, San Diego has a 4-point lead with 4:50 left in the first quarter. Merrill Hodge out of the backfield. Nifty moves to take it across the 25 to the 29 with flags onto the play. We'll find out about that when we come back, as we are just about ready to head to an update. But first, a face mask against the Chargers. So that will give Pittsburgh a first down.
Face mask, number 25 defense, 5 yards, first down.
It's called on the free safety, Vincie Glenn, in his 5th year from Indiana State.
And you'll see right here at the end of the play as they're trying to wrestle Hodge down. I still didn't see it.
Well, it looked like he tried to get it, but it didn't work out.
Well, see, from up here, I can't see very well. The referee was right on top of it.
First and 10 at the 34-yard line. Big hole for Tim Worley. And the back from Georgia has another Steeler first down. The Steelers' first-round draft choice last year. Now let's head to New York for that update. Week number 5, Bob Costas.
All right, Joel, in Foxborough, first a John Stevens fumble set the Seahawks up, and Derek Fenner scored from the 5. Shortly after that, it's David Craig to Tommy Kane for the touchdown. It covers 20 yards. Norm Johnson had missed the first conversion. His second kick was true. Seahawks 13, Patriots nothing.
Well, a positive start for the Seahawks, but once again, tough going for Norm Johnson, their place kicker. Worley with big yardage again for another first down inside the 40 to the San Diego 38. Carried it for 13 on the previous play.
At the top of this game, when we talked about them simplifying their offense, and I said that it was Tim Worley when you talk about simplifying the offense. There's Worley finding the hole and exploding through it. Now the pressure's on Vincie Glenn trying to pull this big fella down, and all of a sudden this Steeler offense is looking a lot better because they're getting the ball to the right people. It's very easy to simplify an offense when you just get down and start running the ball.
Well, Bobby Humphrey leads the league with 462 coming into the game. Steelers didn't even rank in the top 10 in individual backs, with only 248 yards on the ground. Brister with a play action, wide open. He's got the tight end, the rookie Eric Green, and it's a first down. Their first-round draft choice from Liberty University. Good deception on the play action. 12 yards on the reception.
This is what happens when you can run the football. When you can run the football, everybody's got to stay inside. Watch them all go for Hodge. Just a little fake, and then Brister finds Eric Green out in the left flat. But the thing that makes this passing game go is the Steelers' ability to run the ball. It just gives you gives the defense a totally different assignment when you pound that ball right at him.
First career reception for Eric Green, moving on the line. Brister drew them off. A free 5 coming up.
Bubby Brister seems to have something wrong with his left arm. If you notice, every time he's keeping it very close inside of his body. You see how he's holding his jersey in there? He's been doing that for about the last 10 minutes.
Number 6.
And now the Steelers are being called for movement on the line.
And Bubby Brister does not like that call. But I think we should keep an eye on his It might be his shoulder or his arm or something, but he is really holding that left arm.
Well, they called it on the tight end, Eric Green.
Eric Green might have flinched first, which drew the defense off.
They stay in the 2 tight end set with Green to the left, Malarkey to the right. Derek Hill, the only wide receiver. Hodge on the trap. And he takes it for about 5 down to the 26-yard line. Martin Bayless, the strong safety, making the hit.
Something that this Steeler team has done so well in the past is that trap play. There you see Hodge statistics for this year, and a measly 2.5 yards a carry, but I'm sure he's hoping for that to improve.
Well, Joe Walton told us yesterday the system brought in, obviously, and Steeler fans are tired of hearing, we heard about that over the weekend, the new terminology, but he said the traps are still there. We haven't changed the system all that much. They still go with their traps. Brister throwing on 2nd down. Merrill Hodge has it, and he's got a first down inside the 15 to the 14-yard line.
Yeah, but the problem with yeah, they go with the traps, but it's like I was saying earlier, the trap's not called a trap anymore. It's called something else. So it's the terminology that's the problem, not the fact of what kind of plays it they're running.
Steelers have it inside the 15.
Joe Walton, I went over and talked to him yesterday. I said, Joe, I'm surprised that you aren't wearing a fake mustache, beard, and a hat. And he said, no, I believe in my system, and I know it'll work. And it has been working so far today.
2 tight end set continues for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Misdirection and play action. Hodge in the flat. Has it inside the 10. Down to the 8-yard line. A gain of 6 on that catch by Merrill Hodge. And Brister had to get rid of that one in a hurry.
This is a great play by Bubby Brister. You got to wait on this play. See him wait to the last minute before he lets that ball go? That's the key to making that play work. You got to give your running back a chance to get out and then turn around and go for the ball. That puts the responsibility on the quarterback to hang on to that ball for an extra minute, even though he's going to probably take a hit.
Well, 2 good drives right now, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, their first one resulted in a 45-yard field goal by Gary Anderson. And now it'll be another quarter before the Steelers can get their first offensive touchdown of the season. Make it 18-plus quarters now for the Steelers, still looking for that first score. Into the end zone as we come back to Three Rivers Stadium.
Working to be the best they can be. Teammates, sponsored by the U.S. Army. At the core of the Steel Curtain defense were 3 dominant linebackers, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, and Andy Russell. Against the run, Ham and Russell were never outflanked, while Lambert stuffed everything up the middle. All 3 were double trouble for quarterbacks, either pillaging the pocket or pilfering a pass. Individually, each could do it all. Together as teammates, they made the Steelers the best they can be.
Coming into the game, big problems existed for the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively, but 2 impressive drives to start the day.
And, you know, we said early on that what they needed to do was to go out and run the ball. Because once you start to run the ball, then you can throw the ball. And it takes a lot of pressure off your entire team. If you can just keep pounding it and pounding it forward, then you can do a lot of other things.
So now the Pittsburgh Steelers start the second 15 minutes of play as they've got it inside the 10-yard line. It is 2nd and just about 5. They're split behind Bubby Brister. Brister giving to Merrill Hodge. Nothing there. Hodge couldn't get into the outside. Little misdirection, but the Chargers stayed at home.
This is where it's become a lot tougher, and they haven't scored in 19 quarters. The possession time 2 hours, 9 months. But I don't know if we can be, you know, this is where it becomes really tough. I mean, I don't know if they're getting ready to break any of this right now. That's a long time without scoring. 9 months. They could have had a baby in that time. Well, I guess they couldn't have had a baby, but someone could have had a baby in that long.
It's inside the 8, where it's now 3rd and 4. 14-15 left in the first half. Chargers by 4. And Brister works out of the shotgun, sending Eric Green in motion. Brister with the pocket holding up. Fires it. Touchdown Steelers. Finally, it is there. And it's taken in by the rookie Eric Green.
They did it the hard way. Merrill Hodge was the primary receiver. He wasn't a...
Gary Anderson drills it through the uprights for the extra point. The first touchdown for the offensive unit for the Pittsburgh Steelers comes on week number 5 with 14:02 left in the second quarter. Euphoria exists now at Three Rivers Stadium. They are dancing in the streets of Pittsburgh, it is safe to say, as the Steelers finally get their first touchdown from the offensive unit. As Gary Anderson gets ready to tee it up. Donald Frank and Darren Nelson waiting for the San Diego Chargers. It's a 9-play, 77-yard drive. Took about 6 minutes off the clock. As Anderson really gets into it. And nowhere to go for Darren Nelson. Well, how does Joe Walton react to their first touchdown of the season, Ahmad, from his offensive unit?
Well, I think,
not the way you'd expect.
Well, Joe, I think at this point, Merrill Hodge was a primary receiver as he went in motion, and Joe realized it wasn't going their way. But what happens is Bubby Brister, realizing that he's got a guy covered, if you watch, see, at the top of the screen, that's who he wanted to go to first. Now he comes back and just fires it in there to Eric Green, and they get the touchdown. They get the touchdown anyway, and there, Joe talking a little bit with Bubby Brister after the touchdown, telling him that was a fine play, but
San Diego with it, 1st and 10. Their own 20-yard line, and Marion Butts trying to spin it to the outside. Does so. Stiff-arming Dwayne Woodruff, carrying him all the way to the 28-yard line near the 29 for a carry of 9 yards. Nickerson also helping into the play.
Marion Butts is just, he's not only big and strong, but he's extremely fast. And I was talking to Ed White, one of my old teammates, and the H-back coach for the San Diego Chargers. He said, this guy is a load. The offensive linemen want to get out of the way once he carries that ball because he runs over the whole pack.
He may be the toughest and most punishing runner, with the exception of Christian Okoye of the Kansas City Chiefs.
They're certainly in the same category.
Butts has 6 carries now, a total of 41 yards. Tolliver throwing. Anthony Miller's got it. He's got the first down. And it's complete out to the 33-yard line, but Miller had to pay for it at the end of the play on a big hit by David Johnson.
Great tackle by David Johnson. He didn't fall for any of those fakes. He just nailed them.
Kansas City with an early 10-point lead.
Kansas City, a surprise. Not really a surprise team. We thought they were going to do very well, and they are starting to pour it on everybody. They're really believing that they're a playoff team.
Would you say, Ahmad, that is the most complete team on both sides of the line that we've seen so far this season?
Without question. They are, and probably one of the best teams that we've seen so far.
Steelers lead it by 3. With better than 12.5 left in the first half. Tolliver on the play action, throwing on 1st and 10. And overshoots Anthony Miller by a good margin. Coverage provided once again by David Johnson.
Billy Joe Tolliver, one of the guys he wants to get the ball to is Anthony Miller.
Don't forget, coming up next for many of you on NBC Sports, the second game of our doubleheader. The Bengals taking on the Rams, the well-rested Rams. They're trying to regroup after a loss in their last start. Jim Everett and the Rams taking on Boomer and the Bengals. It's NBC football. We've got the lineup, and that's the second game of our doubleheader. 2nd and 10 now. The ball to the 33 of San Diego. Darren Nelson, former Viking. Crossing the 35. Fumbling the ball at the end of the play, but they say he was already down at the 38-yard line after a gain of 5. Tripped up by David Little. Darren Nelson was one of the players involved in the Herschel Walker deal, going from Minnesota to Dallas, but he did not want to join the Dallas Cowboys.
There you see Darren Nelson trying to stumble forward from the yardage. You see, obviously, as he hit the ground, the ball bounced out.
So the San Diego Chargers taking it 64 yards for a touchdown on their first possession of the day. Now facing a 3rd and 5. They're on 38-yard line. Anthony Miller, the motion man. Pocket holds up for Tolliver, but it's batted down. Lorenzo Freeman got his hands up into the air. The nose tackle.
This Pittsburgh defense is a very good defensive team. In the past, they have just been playing too much. I talked to these guys yesterday. I said, you guys got to get like a double check after the game. You've been playing almost 60 minutes. But you watch Lorenzo Freeman coming in there from the middle. And like all good defensive linemen, when you get stopped, the next thing you do is jump up and try to knock the ball down.
Donald Evans right in front of Lorenzo Freeman. Both on top of the situation as John Kidd for 6 seasons with the Buffalo Bills before signing as a Plan B. San Diego Chargers this year, second in the AFC in punting. Booms it away. It's Derek Hill back deep. Not Rod Woodson, who did not call for the fair catch. Hill popped right at the 25. Woodson is out for the day with an injury to his right knee. That is a severe blow to the Pittsburgh Steelers special teams and defensive unit. The Pittsburgh Steelers came into the game trying to simplify their scheme, going back to the basics, and it certainly paid off. They've got it 1st and 10, and Brister's got Dwight Stone on a completion at the 23-yard line, or make it the 33 for a gain of a little bit better than 7.
Dwight Stone, one of the players on this team that Bubby Brister likes to go to, and Stone also trying to break this no touchdown jinx. Had his name cut into his head and a Steeler emblem on the other side of his head. My man is in the heart.
Well, he said he was trying to loosen up the group. He did it earlier this week, and now obviously no one has any excuses if they forget his name.
You think he'll cut it off though after he scored a touchdown?
Bubby Brister almost perfect. 8 of 10 in the passing department, sending Eric Green in motion. Pitch goes in that direction to Tim Worley. He's short of the 1st down. A little bit better than a yard. Stopped at the 35. Bayless into the stop, and Henry rolling, the outside linebacker. Don't forget, coming up tonight on NBC, Hull High live stories and a world premiere miniseries part 1. Jackie Collins' Lucky Chances. It's an NBC world premiere. Jackie Collins' Lucky Chances tonight only on NBC. 3rd and short now for the Steelers. 3rd and a yard. Their own 35-yard line. Their first 2 possessions today resulted in 10 points. This is their 3rd. Merrill Hodge slamming it ahead. He's right at the marker. I believe he may have it, depending upon the spot, at the 36.
That was certainly a tough 1 yard. And he picked it up. See the left side of this Pittsburgh Steelers line. They open up a pretty nice hole. And Hodge just finds his way through there.
This Charger defensive unit slowed down the run on the first 2 snaps of the day, but they have not been able to stop the Steelers ever since. And the San Diego defense, the 5th best in the NFL, coming into week number 5 at stopping the running attack of the opposition. Not a lofty average for Merrill Hodge, but successful just the same. As the Steelers utilize their 2nd timeout of the first half, they have 1 remaining with 9:21 left in the first 30 minutes of play. We'll be right back to Three Rivers.
There's been so much said about this relationship between Joe Walton and Bubby Brister, but I guarantee the best thing that's happened is not the touchdown, but the 2 drives that they've had so far in this game. As long as you keep doing positive things, then Joe can say, see, I told you, and Bubby can say, oh, I see.
Brister throwing on 1st and 10, flushed out. Buys some time, and off the wrong foot, goes after Lewis Lips. It's incomplete. Beyond the 45-yard line. Good pressure on the quarterback, though, by the Chargers. And pass to Eric Green. The first TD toss for Bubby Brister since the final day of the regular season last year. And the Steelers get an entry to the playoff, nailing down a wild card spot at Tampa Bay.
You get a quarterback rolling out left and he's right-handed. It's pretty hard for him to be effective and throw the ball downfield. The only guy I've ever seen do it very effectively is John Elway, who can probably throw the ball on his head.
2nd and 10 now for the Steelers, their own 36-yard line. They lead it by 3. Tim Worley spinning his way to the 40-yard line for a gain of 4. Well, last week, the Steelers offensive unit was very rarely on the field. Miami had the ball almost 2/3 of the game, but now the Steelers with it better than 15 minutes already compared to 6:27 for the San Diego Chargers. So a real boost, especially for the defensive unit. They're not out there all day.
If you notice Pittsburgh's offense and see the players bringing the plays in from the sideline, those players have to know the new offense also. I mean, you got to come in and deliver a complete play to the quarterback. I played with a lot of guys that came in and said, Mike, right, you know the rest.
3rd and 6. Brister on the shotgun. Has Lewis Lips for a first down in Charger territory to the 48-yard line. Did he ever drill that pass over the middle?
Very nice shot by Bubby Brister. He stood in there and just delivered that ball to Lewis Lips. You watch Brister take this drop, nice fake to the right side, and then he catches Lewis Lips coming, hits him right in stride. That's the way you want that ball. You don't want it led too far in front of you, because that's when you get that headache. You want it thrown right at that shoulder pad where you can catch it and still protect yourself. Lewis Lips there with 2 receptions for 19 yards. If you want to be effective, you got to get the ball to Lips, because Lewis Lips sinks ships.
Steelers continue to move it. 1st and 10 at the 48. Worley tripped up in the backfield. Bert Grossman knifing through to make the stop for a loss of a little bit better than a yard.
Did you get the joke? Lewis Lips sinks ships.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Kansas City upping their lead to 13 now. The Colts.
San Francisco coming back.
What about those New York Jets trying to raise their record to 3-2? They lead it by 7 as Atlanta is also on top by 7 over New Orleans. And now Tim Worley is limping off the field. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they've got Warren Williams taking over. He's back up, 3rd-year man out of Miami. Rod Woodson is already lost for the day with an injury to his right knee.
Rod Woodson may be the best player on this football team, and he is a big loss.
2nd and close to 12. Warren Williams taking it straight ahead. The quick trap play down to the 43-yard line.
A lot of times in situations like this, when you got your big star running back go down, there's guys on the bench that are hungry, that want to show you that I can run the ball too. Just give me a chance. And there you see Williams hitting that hole very quick, and the offensive line of Pittsburgh just firing out. When you simplify things for the offensive line, you just say, hey, listen, just fire out in the guy in front of you and block him wherever you want to. We'll hand the ball up to the running back and let him run.
Steelers are 5 of 6 3rd down conversions. Now they're facing a 3rd and 6 with the ball at the 43 of San Diego. And Brister is changing the play. Calling an audible at the line. And Lewis Lips making the adjustment. Brister with the pocket holding up, going deep. He has Dwight Stone. Stone's got it inside the 5. It seemed to hang up there forever.
Bubby Brister is the type of quarterback that wants to throw the ball down the field. In the last few weeks, everybody has said Joe Walton's offense, they never throw the ball down the field. All these little think and dink passes. Well, this is neither think nor dink. This is a bomb that Brister just lets go, and it's a perfectly thrown ball. And a great catch there by Stone, who probably had the feeling he was going to get smacked when he went up for it, but it's a very good catch and a very nice play call.
39 yards on the catch by Dwight Stone.
There's the Owen, Joe.
Warren Williams in the backfield with Merrill Hodge on 1st and goal from the 4. Williams bolting ahead to the 1-yard line.
That's one of those plays where when you get the ball, boy, all you can see is the back of the end zone. You take 2 steps and somebody steps in the hole and just stops you dead. As a matter of fact, 3 people stepped in the hole.
Tunjelkin has just reported into the Steelers lineup as an eligible receiver at the tight end position as Warren Williams comes out. So the Steelers going with 3 tight ends, and now Malarkey moves off the line into a wide receiver spot. Down in the backfield, the one with Merrill Hodge. Play action for Brister into the end zone. Touchdown, Eric Green.
Now there was quite a sight right there as you saw Bubby Brister. There's Eric Green, his 2nd touchdown catch of his career, and Joe Walton, a happy Joe Walton. You notice that when Bubby Brister came off the sideline, the 2 fellas hugged.
Gary Anderson with the extra point. And the celebration continues at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, with the Steelers now leading by 10. Last Sunday right here at Three River Stadium, the Pittsburgh Steelers hit rock bottom against the Miami Dolphins, but has it ever turned around in the first half this afternoon? Bobby Brister has been absolutely brilliant. He's found Eric Green for a couple of touchdown passes, and the Steelers now lead it by 10 as Gary Anderson. There you see the rookie from Liberty University. Gary Anderson ready to kick it away. Donald Frank and Darren Nelson back deep for the San Diego Chargers.
This is such a funny business, boy. A week ago, everybody was ready to give up on these Steelers, and it's still early. It's still early in this football game also. The Chargers are going to have something to say about it. It's just that it takes some time.
It'll be Darren Nelson from the 9-yard line. And Nelson finding his blockers out in front with a good return. Out to the 35 of San Diego.
Here's a look at that touchdown. You see Bubby Brister with just a fake handoff to Hodge up to the middle. Finds Eric Green wide open and puts the ball right on him. And now as you see Joe Walton, Joe said, I knew that was going to work. All you guys got to do is listen to me. I'm trying to tell you, all you got to do is listen to me. And then Bubby coming on, gives everybody a high five. And here's a picture you haven't seen in a long time. Maybe never.
Frame it. It may be a while before you see it again. Those Steeler fans hope they'll see it regularly this afternoon for the rest of the season. Bernstein out of the backfield, all the way down to the 40-yard line. Rod Bernstein, he started his career as a tight end. He's got fullback, tailback type of speed, and the book on him is he's not really big enough to be a good blocking tight end, so they moved him into the backfield.
That's one of the things that you want to do if you got a player who's got some talent. You want to get him in a position where you can let him do the things that he does well. If he can't block well enough, you take him out on running plays. But if he's a very good ball player when he's in the game, give him the ball. He's a pretty good receiver also.
So Rod Bernstein takes it from his own 35 to the 40-yard line of Pittsburgh. Movement on the line should be a free down for Tolliver. She's going deep, looking for Quinn Early. And it's incomplete as Early was bumping his way with David Johnson down to the 5-yard line. A flag down in the play, though, as it looked like the Steelers jumped off.
And Tolliver, a very smart play. He's a young quarterback. He realized he had that free play and just, went downtown with it. Looked like an offsides.
Offsides. Number 97. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Aaron Jones at the bottom of your screen jumps over and just about the time the ball snapped.
Extra defensive back in there now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's Gary Jones, rookie from Texas A&M. First 5 down from the 35. Bernstein again lunging his way to the 32-yard line.
I'm surprised that the San Diego Chargers are not trying to take advantage of their lightning quick receiver, Anthony Miller.
And Bubby Brister is leaving the field. I believe it was a rib cage injury, possibly.
Well, we could tell there was something wrong. He's been keeping that left arm close to the body the entire time. And there's nothing worse than a rib cage injury because, boy, it hurts when you sneeze. I mean, every little jar hurts all the way through your body.
Backup quarterback Rick Strom. We caught him at a perfect time. 2nd and 2, the 32-yard line. It's Early in motion, and Bernstein bottled up in the backfield. Greg Lloyd, the outside linebackers, got him.
And that's all this defense needed here was the offense to give them a little bit of rest. Those guys were telling me earlier in the last 3 or 4 games, all they had time enough to do was come over, get a quick sip of water, and go right back on the field. But there you see Greg Lloyd penetrating and just stopping this play before it even gets started.
So the offense was looking for a lift, just any kind of positive development. And now it's carrying over to the defensive side.
I was kidding around with a lot of the guys on the offense. I asked them, had they been backing up to that paycheck window to get their checks lately, seeing that they hadn't done anything.
Chargers 1 of 2 in 3rd down conversions. This is a 3rd and 5. Tolliver going for Early, batted away by Woodruff. The extra defensive back coming in.
A great play by Dwayne Woodruff, who's been around a long time. And when you get a cornerback that's played a long time, he becomes so smart. It's very hard to beat a guy like this. Woodruff reads this play the entire time. 3-step drop. Woodruff is the first one to break on the ball and knocks it down. Very intelligent cornerback.
Well, he lost his starting job this year to David Johnson. He's the last Steeler remaining for their Super Bowl championship team, Super Bowl 14.
As a cornerback, it's not so important really to be a starter because that 5th back is so important now. With all the receivers that they bring in, you got to bring in a quality guy off the bench to be the 5th defensive back, and that is Woodruff.
Chargers taking the delay of game. They were trying to draw the Steelers offside on a 4th and 5 punting situation.
All they're doing is giving Bubby Brister time to get his ribs taped and get back out on the field.
And 5 more yards for John Kidd to work with as Rick Strom, the backup quarterback, will be ready to take over. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who have scored on all 3 of their possessions so far this afternoon.
Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Steelers decline the delay of game penalty. Derek Hill is waiting back at the 10-yard line. 2:25 left in the first half. Back-to-back drives for the Steelers on their last 2 possessions, 74 and 77 yards. And it is official now. We've received word. It is bruised ribs for Bubby Brister. Kidd angling it. Can he get it over to the side? And a good play by the San Diego Chargers. Getting downfield in a hurry. It looked like Darren Nelson, or was it number 28? It was Donnie Elder, number 28, not number 20. In case you missed NFL Live today, Zeke Moat was on talking about his polygraph test.
How about Lisa Olsen? Death threat. She's got to leave the. This is just a game. This is only football. This has grown way
getting out of hand.
Way out of hand. Are you kidding me?
And Will McDonough reporting with Bo Jackson's return to the Raiders next week. Marcus Allen may be dealt away, possibly to the Los Angeles Rams. Rick Strom, second-year man, Georgia Tech. He's got his fans here at Three Rivers Stadium as well. Tough position to take it back to the 2-yard line. Merrill Hodge, big hole up the middle. Hodge has some breathing room and a first down for the Steelers right at the marker across the 12-yard line.
Merrill Hodge, hard running fullback on this football team, and all he needed was a chance to run the ball.
We have reached the 2-minute warning as we come back to Pittsburgh. Welcome back once again to Pittsburgh. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. We've reached the 2-minute warning. 3 possessions for this malign Steeler offense and 3 scores.
Boy, it just turns around, and it's only a matter of time. And the thing is that they had talked about all week was they were just now starting to realize the offense is not going away. The terminology is not going away. We've got to get with it, and they've been doing that so far the first half.
Well, the system is working for the Pittsburgh Steelers so far, but now all of a sudden, a breakdown in continuity. Rick Strom takes over. He has been taking about 30 to 40% of the reps, the snaps during practice this week.
And that was a very smart move on behalf of Chuck Noll to make sure that his backup quarterback had enough experience and enough time in practice that if anything did happen to Bubby Brister, he has a guy who's familiar with the terminology, at least as familiar as Bubby Brister.
Strom is 5 of 7 in the passing department as he entered the game late last week against the Miami Dolphins, handing it off the second straight time to Merrill Hodge for good yardage across the 15 out to the 17-yard line. Steelers lead it by 10 with 1:50 left in the first half and counting. Well, NBC is the place to be on October 20th. We present live final round coverage of the Walt Disney World Oldsmobile Golf Classic. Beautiful and demanding course at Walt Disney World. A challenge to some of the top golfers on the tour, including Payne Stewart, Fuzzy Zeller, Robert Gomez, as well as defending champion Tim Simpson. Over $1.5 million in prize money up for grabs. Walt Disney World Oldsmobile Golf Classic, October 20th, only on NBC.
Did you mention Payne Stewart? One of my golf boys. I worked with him over the weekend in that Kenny Rogers tournament.
Merrill Hodge trying to break it outside. Does a good job just to get near the 20-yard line.
But you talk about golfers. I mean, Payne Stewart, Tim Simpson, Robert Gomez. I worked with these guys last week, and I really have my whole attitude towards golfers has changed. These guys are well-rounded, all-around good athletes.
You didn't believe a guy like Calcavecchia could hit for triples as frequently as he did.
Mark Calcavecchia shot the lights out. He scored more points than Larry Bird or Michael Jordan in a tournament down in Georgia last year.
And Payne Stewart, a good all-around athlete as well.
Chuck Noll looks on. He used to play a lot of golf. Now I think that his offense is more important at this time of the year. Dan Henning told us yesterday that one of the things he worried about was this Pittsburgh Steelers team finding its way today. He wanted them to still be confused and maybe find it next week.
Last week, only 41 yards on the ground for the Pittsburgh Steelers already today, still with 1:08 left in the first half. They've got 89. Their seasonal average 62 coming into the contest, and only 175 yards offensively of the first 4 weeks of the campaign per contest. Lips is the motion man on 3rd down, and it looked like Grossman shot over the line. Handoff to Hodge for the first down. But it looked like Bert Grossman was way offside over on the left side of the line, as Hodge takes it out near the 30. Was there movement, though, that drew Grossman off?
That was Bert Grossman just jumped the gun. You see Lewis Lips, number 83, coming in motion. Now Grossman jumps all the way across the line. At this point, Merrill Hodge won it. Look how low Merrill Hodge runs to the ground. He really gives you no place to hit him. You really can't get a shot at his legs. He's an excellent inside runner. But even though we're talking so much about Pittsburgh's offense, we got to realize that Bubby Brister is not playing at this point, and neither is Rod Woodson. They're two top players.
First and 10 for the Steelers, their own 30-yard line. Hodge gets it. Hodge has good yardage again. Here another first down out across the 39-yard line. Hodge is in his 4th year from Idaho State. He's been a steal for the Steelers. It's a 10th round pick back in '87.
The only thing I thought came from Idaho was potatoes. And then all of a sudden Merrill Hodge showed up, and he is an excellent punishing runner. Really complements this Steeler offense very well. 10 rushes, 53 yards. And he says, I am no potato.
Good receiver, too, Amon. He caught 34 out of the backfield last year. Good hands. Clock moving. Under 30 seconds left in the first half. A half that has been dominated by the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Strom throwing for the first time. He has time. Now the pocket collapsed, and there's the first sack of the day for the San Diego Chargers. Leslie O'Neal's in there.
Martin Bayless also, number 44.
And George Hinkle.
Ran by him the first time and still able to get in on the pile. Bayless, one of the defensive backs they like to use a lot in their blitzing situations. They move him around. Sometimes he'll blitz from the middle of the defense and sometimes from out on the wing. He's the guy that's never accounted for.
So that is the end of the first half of play. A positive one for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Bubby Brister. His replacement, Rick Strom, heads to the halftime locker room from an update on the starting quarterback.
Welcome back to Three Rivers, where the Steelers have a 10-point lead over the San Diego Chargers. Joel Myers alongside Ahmad Rashad. The running game has returned for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That really has been the key to the first half.
It really has, and I think that's when they talked about early in this week with simplifying the offense. When you start to run the ball, all good things start to happen to you because the defense has to pay attention to the run, then you can pass. And I think Brister, you got to let Brister throw that ball long. He's not a dink quarterback. This guy wants to throw the ball down the field, and he threw a couple of long ones today, which really got that offense rolling.
The San Diego Charger defense, they probably felt like they were on the field the entire first 30 minutes of the contest. Now that offense has to take some pressure off of them.
Well, they started off big with Marion Butts, a couple of big runs off tackle, but they've done nothing since then. I really expect to see them try to get that ball to Anthony Miller and see if he can get a matchup on a couple of those young cornerbacks in Pittsburgh.
So the rushing attack that we expected to see from San Diego, not there quite yet with Marion Butts, but a couple of nice runs at the end of the half by Rod Bernstein.
And you know what happens, though, if you get behind, you got to start throwing the ball, and that's what's happening now for San Diego. In order for Pittsburgh to be effective, though, like we've always said, half-to-half improvement.
We're ready for the start of the second half. Frank and Nelson back deep. Anderson really booms it away. So the Chargers will have it first and 10 at their own 20-yard line as we look at those first half numbers.
See those, that big stat there is those 16 first downs to the Chargers 6. 238 yards to the Chargers 107. And those first downs are something that really concerned Dan Henning. As we talked to him the other day, he gave up 29 first downs last week. And if at this pace, he's going to give up 32 if they can do what they did in the second half like they did in the first half.
Last week it was the run and shoot offensive attack of Warren Moon. The Houston Oilers. Moon threw for 355 yards. Tolliver throwing on first and 10. He's looking deep. And Quinn Early covered every step of the way.
One of the things you never do as a wide receiver, and Quinn Early just did that, you never stop running. At some point in this pattern, Quinn Early figured the ball wasn't coming to him, and he slowed down and looked back. At that point, the ball was coming to him. So you got to always keep running on those deep passes, especially you got a strong-arm quarterback like Billy Joe Tolliver.
Dwayne Woodruff provided the coverage, and Ahmad will see a lot of Woodruff now due to the injury to Rod Woodson. If you've just joined us, Woodson out very early today and out for the game with an injury to his right knee.
Well, you got a veteran over there. I think the guy you got to worry about is David Johnson.
Second and 10 now. Bucks the single set. Going for Anthony Miller, and Miller knows where the marker is, and he picks up the first down to the 31-yard line. Only in his third year, but he plays so much more mature than a third-year player.
He's got such great speed and such great hands. You usually don't have that combination in one player. Either the guy's got a lot of speed and mediocre hands, or he's got great hands and no speed. But Anthony Miller's got them both. You see him just snatch that ball with his hands, and he puts such pressure on the cornerback because he can run with the ball. He can catch a short one and run by you, or he can just run by you and catch the long one.
Second fastest just a couple of years ago to Darrell Green in the NFL's fastest man competition. He can flat out fly, and it's almost intercepted. It is by Dwayne Woodruff, headed down the sideline, and a touchdown saving tackle made by the offensive lineman Eric Floyd. Went to Miller again.
A lot of confusion. It looked like a stop and go, and when Miller stopped and when he went, Tolliver threw the ball. It looked like, watch Anthony Miller. Here's a stop. Now watch him take off. Oh, he starts to take off and the ball's gone. Just a bad timing play. And then you got that old veteran player, that wily, crafty player over there. He played the ball the entire way and made a great interception. Wayne Woodruff, 23-yard interception return. I'm telling you, they should be picking on the other guy.
So for the first time today, the Steelers start with it, and Strom is the quarterback. They start with it in San Diego territory, the 15-yard line. Brister out with the bruised ribs. They give to Merrill Hodge. He's got a couple to the 13. X-rays that were taken at halftime have proven negative. But Bubby Brister will remain on the sideline. So that's 3 key injuries now to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their starting quarterback, Bubby Brister, you're looking at right now. Their starting tailback, Tim Worley, and maybe the best athlete on their team, defensive back Rod Woodson.
And Brister appearing to just starting to get a handle on this offense. All of a sudden gets a problem with the ribs. But, you know, they go in there and they x-ray the things and say it's negative. We really can't find anything. But they probably ask Bubby, does it hurt? And obviously it does.
Strom under his center. 2nd and 8 from the 13. Flag down on the play and overthrown for Lewis Lips. Flag thrown where you normally see a holding call, right in the middle of that interior line.
And that's exactly what we got. As Lee Williams threw a shoe trying to chase down Strom. He was putting that pressure right up the middle. That's where those quarterbacks do not want to see that pressure come, because it gives you no way to go. You put that pressure in the middle, and it forces a guy out to the flanks. That's when one of your teammates can make the shot.
Holding. Number 74 offense. Penalty is accepted. 10 yards. 2nd down.
It is called on right guard Terry Long. Their 7th season out of East Carolina. I am somewhat surprised we only saw 1 sack by the San Diego Chargers in the first half. That rushing attack definitely helped out the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback over the first 30 minutes of play.
When you can run the ball, it calms down those defensive linemen. They don't just pin their ears back and start rushing the quarterback. They have to wait and play run.
But now it's 2nd and 18. Ball back at the 23-yard line with Derek Hill in motion. Straight and deep drop this time for Strom. Over the middle, he's got Derek Hill, who loses it on its way down. I believe he got it back, though, at the 15-yard line. What a break for the Steelers.
Well, that was a lot of luck. One time out of 1,000, that ball bounces anyway. Here's Strom looking downfield. There's Hill coming underneath. Throws that ball up there. Now watch after he gets hit and that ball comes out. There the ball's out, and here it comes back.
Gilbert.
Big play. Keeps the drive alive.
3rd down and 10. Steelers almost perfect in 3rd down conversions today. 7 of 8. The offensive coordinator, Joe Walton, of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the motion man. The quick pitch for Hodge, and he's got blockers out in front, turning the corner, leaps up, he's got the first down. They pulled, and did he ever have a convoy out in front?
That was the old Green Bay sweep there, boy. The great block was by Lewis Lips, number 83. If you can see on the left side of your screen, Lewis Lips comes in and just nails number 91, Leslie O'Neal, which enables him to get outside. And once he gets outside, he's got nothing but black blockers in front of him.
You're right. He really sealed off that side.
Really, great block. I mean, you asked a wide receiver to try to block Leslie O'Neal, boy. You got to be a heck of a blocker. And there's Merrill Hodge.
Tunjelkin is reported in as an extra tight end. 1st and goal. Warren Williams on the call. Battling his way. He's in. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh.
There's Joe Walton saying, there you go. Oh, you just got to do the right thing, fellas. I can draw them up. All you guys got to do is go out there and run them. And they have been running them today.
Gary Anderson with the extra point. And it is now ballooned to a 17-point lead for the Steelers as they capitalize on the Woodruff interception. The clouds have moved into Three Rivers Stadium, but there is nothing cloudy about the picture Steeler fans are watching right now. Their team up by 17. 4 out of the last 5 years, Pittsburgh has gotten off to a 1-3 start. The last time they made the playoffs getting off to a 1-3 start, 1976. As Anderson's into it, Donnie Elder in and out of his own end zone. It'll be a touchback. But the Steelers, with a major mountain to climb, are making up a lot of ground today.
This is just a fine running play by Williams, who pounds it in here, keeps his legs moving, and pounds it into the end zone. And Joe Walton saying, I told you so.
There
Joe,
it is.
there
it is. Finally, Joe.
There it is. Strom on the handoff. And there's Williams once again. You see him, once he turns that ball up the field, he just keeps pounding right past Leslie O'Neal and gets it into the end zone.
Chargers start with it for the second time in the second half, their own 20-yard line. It's Marion Butts. Yardage out across the 25 to the 26-yard line. David Little wrapping up the running back. So the Chargers down by 17. That throws their game plan right out the window.
They have got to try to find some air chargers. You know, in the past, a long time ago, Dan Henning's team, they'd have been able to just throw up a couple long bombs and then right back into it. But Henning had a lot of concern about this Pittsburgh Steelers team, saying that they look very good, and he was really concerned that they'd get it together today against him. And they have.
Butts again waiting for his blocking. Flag down on the play. It's a gain of 3 to the 29. 8th carry. Butts, a total of 50 yards now, but that is negated by the holding call. And after that touchdown, Strom came over.
And Walton says, that's using your head, son. Watch this one.
Holding. Number 76
Well,
offense.
he said it. You don't see it, but I
Still
trust
second down.
you. He told
We
him,
always trust you.
he told him, that's using your head.
Holding call was on Broderick Thompson.
Now, didn't I tell you? There you go. That's using your head, son. You got those right arms and left foot and all that stuff together.
I want to come back here when Joe lightens up a little. 10:50 left in the third quarter. Marion Butts on the carry after the penalty mark-off. He gets 5 out across the 20, near the 21. Tripped up by Aaron Jones. Chuck Noll told us yesterday he's very pleased with the play of his defensive front three. They're a much quicker group now. He likes the time he's getting for Aaron Jones, wants to get more time for Kenny Davidson. But with the addition of Donald Evans, a young man that was drafted in the 2nd round by the Los Angeles Rams, it was kind of a project. Nobody expected him to be taken that high out of Winston-Salem State. But they put him back at defensive end where he played in college. And he's delivered for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, they got an anchor in there in Keith Willis. He was always steady.
3rd and 10 from the 20-yard line. Tolliver with plenty of time has Anthony Miller for the first down. And one of the fastest in the NFL at the wide receiver position is out at the 34-yard line.
Anthony Miller may be the fastest because with his uniform, he doesn't lose any speed. Here you see him run this break-in route. He just pushes his defense out and then comes across the middle. And the thing that all the defensive backs talk about Anthony Miller, he is fearless coming over that middle. He's not one of these speed burners. Most speed burners don't want to come over that middle too much. But anybody in their right mind doesn't really want to come over there too much. But Anthony Miller comes in there extremely strong.
Butts is the single set on 1st and 10, the 34-yard line. Tolliver again with time. The dump off to Butts, but nobody out in front to help out. Carnell Lake met him. Hardy Nickerson helping out. And almost no gain on that reception. The Hurts 10-minute ticker shows us that Indianapolis is making a run now at the Kansas City Chiefs.
They're at halftime. It's 16-10, and San Francisco still trailing Houston 14-7.
And Seattle,
yeah,
a big early lead, but New England was 17 points now.
Well, maybe after all that stuff, they can focus on playing football up there.
Call it 2nd and 10. Still the ball at the 34-yard line. Darren Nelson in the backfield with McEwen in motion. The counter goes to Darren Nelson. He is rocked, but still maintains his balance at the 38. He was almost tripped in the backfield by Keith Willis, who tried to get him with his leg.
He'd have been luckier had he tripped down, because he kept going and turned into a pinball. Here you see Darren Nelson taking this inside handoff. Now watch, there's good feet by Darren. Gets by the guy, keeps his feet moving, gets pounded there, still keeps his feet moving, and gets ahead for a couple of extra yards.
Tough running. Looked like Marion
running.
Butts on that play.
Very good running by Darren Nelson.
Tolliver in a passing situation. He's 6 of 11 with very little yardage on the afternoon. With time and a wide open receiver. It's complete to the rookie Walter Wilson. Their 3rd-round draft choice from East Carolina. He was shaken up in the first half. Good to see him back.
It's so good to play with a great receiver, because on that last play, Anthony Miller ran down the middle, and all the defensive players went with Anthony Miller, and Wilson was wide open over on the sideline.
Makes everybody else look better.
Certainly does.
Wilson had Greg Lloyd, if you've just joined us, roll over the back of his legs about 10 minutes of the contest. It didn't look like he'd be able to return.
Sammy White used to do that for me. They'd all go cover Sammy, and I'd be wide open.
1st and 10 at the 48-yard line. Play action for Billy Joe Tolliver. And he's going for the bundle with Anthony Miller. And it's overthrown. David Johnson providing the coverage.
Anthony Miller has tried to run a deep route on David Johnson the last 3 or 4 times, but you got to take it early. You can't run a deep route on the guy every time. Look how deep off number 44 David Johnson is on Anthony Miller. He's got to run 10-15 yards to catch up with him, and Johnson does the right thing by giving him all the room he needs. And you see Tolliver trying to wait a little bit on Miller. Just as he lets the ball go, he hits his hand right on the top of Keith Willis's helmet. But he's still looking downfield to see where the ball went. Then after he sees it's an incomplete pass, then he rubs his hand.
If that's a square out to Anthony Miller, he's got about a 10 or 12-yard cushion on that play. Just a 10 or 12-yard cushion. 2nd and 10 now. The ball at the 48-yard line of San Diego. The Chargers, though, trailing by 17 with 7:23.
And that was a Canadian play. Everybody went in motion.
So the Chargers have to expend one of their 3 second-half timeouts. They're right back to Pittsburgh.
Harry Connick Jr.
Welcome back to Pittsburgh. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. Not a very productive day so far. Billy Joe Tolliver only 71 yards through the air. The offense has not been on the field all that much. Keith Willis anticipating the snap count just a little bit.
And Keith Willis just a little bit too quick off the ball. Get a chance to watch Keith Willis, number 93.
Defense,
He moved
5 yards.
way too early.
Still 2nd down.
Well, fortunately, he didn't go after Billy Joe.
He's a smart veteran. 8th year out of Northeastern. One of my favorite guys in the league. I love visiting with him before each game. We were talking the other day, and I said, what's changed throughout the league? He said, well, those cheerleaders out in Los Angeles, they got some good-looking cheerleaders.
An observant guy keeping up with the film room.
That's right.
2nd and 5. Ball at the 47 of the Steelers. Chargers playing catch-up, and Walter Wilson has a first down inside the 40. Down to the 38-yard line. Don't forget, second half of our doubleheader today. Great matchup at the Big A, Anaheim Stadium. The LA Rams playing host to Boomer Esiason, the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals now at 3-1, with the Rams struggling out of the gate this year.
The Big A, that's what they call that out there, Anaheim, the Big A?
They got a Big A right out there in center field. Right off the Santa Ana Freeway. 1st and 10. Ball at the 38 now, the Steelers. Chargers' best drive. Second half, starting at their own 20-yard line. McEwen in motion. And Walter Wilson, all of a sudden the favorite target of Billy Joe Tolliver with his 3rd catch in the second half.
And once again, the inside receiver, Anthony Miller.
David Johnson on the coverage. So now Tolliver is taking what they're giving him as opposed to trying to force things way downfield.
Well, actually, what they're doing is you have to use a guy like Anthony Miller. You know he's going to get a lot of double coverage. And if they're going to give you two guys to cover Miller, somebody is single coverage, and it's up to the quarterback to find that player.
Marion Butts the single set on second and a yard. Butts has the first down and then some. Bowling his way inside the 25 to the 24. Where he's met by David Little.
And they keep the drive alive. This is probably the best drive that San Diego's had so far in this game.
Without a doubt. The other drive that they scored their touchdown on started with much better field position, close to their own 40-yard line. It's been a nice balance of run and pass. And the short routes, the 10 and 12-yard completions for Billy Joe Tolliver.
Ronnie Harmon into the game. He is a big play player.
9 carries, 55 yards now for Marion Butts after that last one. Tolliver, pocket, collapsing, and Hardy Nickerson has the sack.
And Ronnie Harmon was open, but the way you cover a good receiver out of the backfield is you put all the pressure on the quarterback. And that is exactly what they did. You watch Billy Joe Tolliver backing up, trying to wait on Ronnie Harmon. Ronnie Harmon's open in the middle, but Hardy Nickerson runs him down from behind. You see, watch Ronnie Harmon. As soon as he clears this defender, he's open right now. Wide open, but Tolliver not having a chance to throw the ball because of Nickerson applying all that pressure.
So the sack now makes it 2nd and 12. The ball outside of the 27. This is the 12th play of the drive that started at their own 20-yard line. Early the motion man. Tolliver on the deep drop. Again has time, and it's over the head of Quinn Early. He takes a hit from David Johnson. And Tolliver also took a hit as he released the ball.
Well, Quinn Early, not real anxious to go up and take that. I think he knew somebody's behind him. But here's Tolliver trying to wait on Early to break his break, then lets it go, and he gets tagged just as he lets the ball go. But in this league, that's just a little love tap.
Donald Evans in the backfield for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now it's 3rd and a dozen. Chargers offense barely on the field in the first half. 3 of 5 so far this afternoon in 3rd down conversions. The Q and the H-back moving. Tolliver again with time and way over the head of Darren Nelson with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball for a receiver that was only 6 or 7 yards away.
I think had he got a hand on it, he would have been minus a hand. That ball was coming.
Tolliver is in his 2nd season. You have to wonder about some of the decisions they're making right now.
Well, Pittsburgh is making it tough on him. There you see him. He may have been just throwing that ball away. There's another little love pull. Lloyd saying, I'm sorry. Got my hand caught up in your jersey a little bit.
And they will go for it. Ahmad on 4th down, trailing by 17. 5:06 left in the 3rd quarter.
Could be the biggest play of the game right here.
Nelson, the only one in the backfield. 4th and 12. The Steelers 27. Pressure coming on Tolliver. Over the middle he goes. Intercepted by Carnell Lake. And now they'll spot it at the 2-yard line. He wanted Anthony Miller over the middle.
A major gamble by San Diego that backfired on him. Carnell Lake with the interception.
So with the new place kicker John Carney in for the first week, they opted to go on 4th down and failed.
Now this was the decision that San Diego made. They wanted to go for it on 4th down. Tolliver looking for Anthony Miller over the middle, and he just lets this ball fly inside, and Carnell Lake has a great chance to make the jump on the ball. Here's another look at it. You'll see number 83 running down right down the hash marks, but Carnell Lake, the ball's thrown right to him. Tolliver now trying to wait for him to make the break, throws it inside. Maybe he's trying to bring the receiver inside. Then he realizes that he's got to go play some defense, but a decision that San Diego made that obviously backfired on him.
Williams and Hodge in the backfield. Williams fumbles it in his own end zone. The Chargers scrambling for it. Who comes up with it? San Diego gets a touchdown. What a gift.
Like I said, it was not a gamble that didn't backfire on them. See, they actually knew that was going to happen.
Les Miller on the fumble recovery for the TD.
Chuck Noll just don't know what to say about that one, but San Diego, they'll take them any way they can get them. Mishandle by Strom. Ball's on the ground, and San Diego comes up with a huge play. Here's the mishandle right there. It's on the ground, and there's nothing but white jerseys around that ball. So a moment ago when we said that San Diego took a big gamble, it actually paid off on him.
John Carney, in his first week as the place kicker of the San Diego Chargers, cut after the preseason, brought back after they released Juan Reves, converts on the point after try, and now it's a 10-point contest. We'll be right back to Three Rivers. Rick Strom, Joe Walton, the offensive coordinator, discussing that bobbled handoff with Warren Williams. First mistake of the day for the Pittsburgh Steelers, an extremely costly one. So it's picked up in the end zone by Les Miller for a touchdown for the Chargers. Dwight Stone waiting for the kickoff from Carney. Has it back in his own 4. He's subbing now for Rod Woodson. And is short of the 20 by a yard. Richard Brown, former Rams linebacker, the first one down there for the Chargers. And now, talking about simplifying things and going back to the basics, that's what you would think now, Ahmad, they would do more than anything else with the backup quarterback in there in a 10-point lead.
And the Steelers have had to take this ball a long way to get all their scores. And once again, they're inside their own 20-yard line. They'll have to go a long ways to, they hope to score this time.
You've just joined us. Bubby Brister out with bruised ribs. X-rays were taken. They were negative, but he is remaining out. Hodge can't hang on. Leslie O'Neal out of the coverage on the back of the flat. Be right back to Pittsburgh. But first, an update now. Let's go to Bob Costas.
All right, Joel, trailing 13-0 at halftime. Miami scores twice in the third quarter to tie the Jets. Here's Marino off the play-action fake. Sidesteps a rusher, then pumps one deep from Mark Duper, who beats a hasty retreat from the cornerback James Hasty into the end zone, 69-yard TD. They had missed the extra after their first touchdown, so the game is tied at 13.
I love the way Bob does those highlights.
And it is a hasty return to Three Rivers. And Warren Williams moving across the 25 on 2nd and 10 out to 26 near the 27. Just about 8 on that run.
This was the play before when Strom tries the old naked bootleg, and he gets nailed as he jumps up in the air by Vincey Glenn.
Chargers have not been able to get to the Steelers quarterback all that often this afternoon. But so often they put that 8-man front up there, shooting the gap. Offensive line of Pittsburgh.
They always like to bring Martin Bayless up on the line of scrimmage where he is right now.
Steelers 8 of 9 in third down conversions. This is a 3rd and 2 from their own 27. They've got 9 men up on the line that time. Strom throwing on 3rd and 2. He wanted it all. And Lewis Lips was content with a 20-yard completion.
Once again, they put Bayless up on the line of scrimmage, number 44, the top of your screen, and here he comes on the blitz. But they pick him up pretty well. And Strom takes a big look afterwards, but they're just not on the right page.
Steelers punted away for the very first time today. Dan Straczynski is in there.
Well, time they gave Straczynski a break. Last week he had to ice the whole right side of his body, all the punts he had to punt.
He was on the Saints developmental squad last year. The high one, and waiting back for it, San Diego. Scott Sweeties, the former Miami Dolphin, who's got it with a fair catch. Back outside of his own 30-yard line. 41-yard punt. And don't forget, next Saturday, basketball bursting onto the scene when NBC Sports is going to be in Barcelona, Spain, side of the '92 Summer Olympic Games, for live coverage of the McDonald's Open. NBA's New York Knicks representing the USA, this international tourney, matching up with the best Europe has to offer. So see big Patrick Ewing to the Knicks tip it off against the up-and-coming European pros in a preview of the '92 Summer Games when NBA pros will be able to compete in the Olympics for the very first time. Live coverage of the McDonald's Open. That is next Saturday right here on NBC Sports. 1st and 10 near the 32 for Billy Joe Tolliver. The Chargers with a new live, but Quinn Early can't hang on to it. And it was right there at the 43.
That was a very fine throw by Billy Joe Tolliver. He can't do anything. He can't run it out there and hand it to the guy. That ball was right on the money. Here, Tolliver, hand fake. Now watch him deliver this. Quinn Early should have had this ball.
Tolliver only 89 yards on 9 completions. They have still yet to find Anthony Miller for the big one. Play action with Marion Butts in the backfield. Tolliver doing a nifty job of some footwork, and early drops another. It was thrown behind him, though, as he slipped at the midfield stripe.
Anything in that area, you have to come up with that catch. This ball is a catchable ball. Quinn Early right there wide open. This ball's right to him. There's just no excuse for dropping a ball like that. And when your team is down, you're trying to get a drive going, that's when you got to make the big catch. He dropped 2 in a row.
Chargers down by 10 with 3:24 left in the third.
2 or 3 drops like that, you're out of business.
You are looking for new employment. 3rd and 10. Miller going in motion this time. The protection holding up early for Tolliver. Going outside right through the fingertips of Walter Wilson.
Billy Joe Tolliver can do nothing more unless he just takes the ball, runs it out, and hands it to him. There was 3 balls right there that all 3 of those balls should have been caught. There is just no excuse for dropping a ball like that, and I guarantee you that those receivers are going to hear about it. And they are coached by one of the great receivers in all of football, Charlie Joyner, and I know Charlie Joyner does not expect that from his receivers. Charlie Joyner, a guy who dropped very few balls in his career, right now watches his receiver drop 3 in a row.
John Kidd with a wobbler. A short one taking a San Diego roll. And it'll be touched by Donnie Elder outside of the 30 at the 33-yard line, where the Steelers will get it for the 4th time offensively in the second half. Only a 35-yard punt as we look at the Hurts 10-minute ticker.
Here comes San Francisco.
They were down by 14 very, very early at the Astrodome.
Also Miami coming back to tie the game up.
And Seattle now clinging to a 2-point lead after they had a big lead at the outset of that contest. Here in Pittsburgh, a 10-point advantage for the Steelers under 3 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Steelers led it by as many as 17 before the fumble recovery in the end zone by Les Miller. Merrill Hodge slamming his way across the 35 to the 38-yard line. About 5.
There is Charlie Joyner there on your left. Little Charlie, we used to call him a great receiver and a great coach. Anthony Miller is really in a great spot to be coached by one of the greats that's ever played this game.
The mode of operation for the Pittsburgh Steelers: run, run, and more runs if possible. Be able to chew up as much time as possible. Warren Williams taking it straight ahead across the 40. He's at the 42, short of the first down by a couple. Tim Worley out of the game, an injury to his left leg. Bubby Brister also out of the game. Starting quarterback, starting tailback. Williams filling in well. The 3rd-year man out of Miami, a 6th-round pick back in 1988. Missed almost half of last year with a sprained foot. Gets the hole in a big hurry, though.
He does have some speed, and he gets to it right away. His 1st or 2nd step, he's going full speed.
Richard Bell now in the backfield with Merrill Hodge on 3rd and 2. Last time it was 3rd and short, they threw it. They're doing it once again. Strom finds Lewis Lips. And the Loons you hear in the background are for Louis with a first down at the 48-yard line.
And Lewis Lips, his wife, Mrs. Lips, sang the national anthem here today. So the family having a pretty good day. Lewis with a nice turnaround route, makes that tough catch. He's extremely a real tough receiver. And he's also not afraid to come over that middle. That's his 3rd reception for 32 yards. But he had a lot to live up to because his wife did a great job on the national anthem.
1st and 10 now for the Steelers, converting on the 3rd down. They have been incredible in 3rd down conversions this afternoon, only failing on a couple of occasions. Merrill Hodge. He slams it straight ahead. Close to 5 on 1st down.
Merrill Hodge, another one of those runners that's able to accelerate once he gets the ball. If you watch him, when he gets in the middle of that hole, he accelerates forward. And he runs so low to the ground. That's what makes him so effective. You watch Merrill Hodge. As he gets the ball now, right this 3rd step, he starts to accelerate in there. And you see, he doesn't give you much of a hitting surface. You got to either hit him on the shoulders or on the feet, because you certainly can't get to his legs.
He's got 14 carries now for 75 yards, 75 of the 143 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. a high on the ground this year, to say the least, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you bring up an interesting point, Yvonne, because it's fun to watch a back shift gears like that. And some of the backs that don't have that pure speed can shift gears as well as the best of them, like a Merrill Hodge. And at 3, be right back. And welcome back to Three Rivers. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. It is 2nd and 6 now for the Steelers. Inside the 45 of San Diego, Merrill Hodge going nowhere. Wrapped up in a big hurry. And it was Gary Plummer who's got a touchdown to his credit today, making the hit the inside linebacker.
It's a very nice tackle by Gary Plummer. Watch him come in and just stop this play cold. Hodge trying to reverse his field. And Plummer just nails him. And he has had a fine day, but his team still trails. It's very hard to have a celebration when your team's behind by 10 points.
3rd, a little less than 5. Ball inside the 44-yard line. And Whitestone in motion. Strom with pressure coming, and it batted down. Batted down, and making the play, Lee Williams.
Lee Williams gets his hand up and knocks that ball down. But Strom just standing in that pocket. Again, watch number 99, Lee Williams. Here he comes in. At the top, Leslie O'Neal, number 91. Williams gets his hand up, and then they meet at the quarterback.
Blankenship trying to hold him off. Subbing for the injured John Rainstrom. Straczynski with his 2nd punt of the day. Sweety's back deep for San Diego at the 10-yard line. The Chargers ready to get back, trailing by only 10. Plenty of time. Sweety's calling for the fair catch. And almost obstructed by Whitestone moving after the ball at the 8-yard line. 37 yards on the punt, and a very effective one, but a flag is down on the play.
There is. I think we're going to get another kick. We had a man downfield, an illegal man downfield.
It's really been extremes for the San Diego defense. Run and shoot last week, and now a rushing attack from Pittsburgh this week.
Ineligible member of the kicking team downfield. Number 90, 5-yard penalty. Will redo 4th down.
Tyrone Stowe tried to get an early jump.
And did. And also got ticketed on it. Or hankied on it, I guess you'd call it. Watch right in the middle of your screen. You'll see number 90 all the way downfield. but listen to us. He did leave early. That's why he was so far down the field. He's not that fast.
No pressure on the punter. Sends it in the same direction. Sweety's, though, lets it go over his head, taking a San Diego hop. And it's down by David Little at the 16-yard line. So because of the penalty, the Chargers get 8 more yards to work with when we return to Pittsburgh. Chargers get it back. They're down by 10 at their own 17-yard line. Bernstein is setting up in the backfield. Under 14 minutes left, and Rod Bernstein gets it. Good speed for such a big guy. He's on to the 20-yard line. Outstanding lateral pursuit down the line, but the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive front, Aaron Jones, the first one in on the hit, along with Hardy Nickerson. Bernstein, though, goes at 6'3", 240, and he can motor.
They've got a player, a big play player on that San Diego team that has not seen much after, and that's Ronnie Harmon. I would think in a situation like this, he's the kind of guy you want to bring in because he can run the ball. He's a very good pass receiver, and he's also a big play man.
Has not touched the ball today. Has not caught the ball today. He's their 3rd down specialist as Wilson goes in motion and gets it on the reverse. Wilson doing a lot of dancing, but going absolutely nowhere at the 21-yard line.
Wilson looking a lot like MC Hammer, putting those moves down, but like you said, he went nowhere forward.
You'll see that move in a new music video coming up. Now time. One of the biggest opponents, the San Diego Chargers. 12 minutes, 40 seconds remaining. And a critical 3rd down deep in their own territory. About a 3rd and 7 with the ball at their 20. Tolliver dancing. McEwen's got it with flags down to the play, and he's short of the 1st down. Just outside of the 26. Talk about happy feet. Who can blame Billy Joe Tolliver with all that heat?
He had some heat on him, but I still want to know where is Ronnie Harmon.
Lorenzo Freeman into the face of Billy Joe Tolliver with a hold coming up against the Chargers. Now they are short of the first down on third down. Short by about a yard. Maybe a little less than a yard, but it looks like David Little says take the penalty. We're not going to take any chances with them going for it on 4th and 1. Dan Henning has got to start to feel the heat in San Diego before too long if this team
Holding.
drops this one.
63 offense.
They call it on the rookie center,
10 yards.
Frank Cornish out of
Third down.
UCLA. But in all fairness to Dan Henning, he is working with such a new group, such a young offensive group. Chargers adding 22 new faces this year, and 9 of the 22 are rookies. So that rhythm and consistency offensively has to suffer.
Dan Henning also tells us that you only get to be a rookie once. Once you start playing, you got to play like a veteran. Easier said than done.
Throwing on 3rd and 17, and it's in and out of the hands of Miller, but he was way short of the first down anyway. He's coming up. Gary Jones is ready to apply the hit. Pittsburgh defense coming through again. So the Steelers are ready to get it back. Rod Woodson out with an injury to his right knee. He's missed almost the entire contest. The lose in the background for Lewis Lips, who's ready to return the punt. John Kidd standing back at the midfield stripe. And it's blocked. It's blocked by Stowe with a flag down on the play, and it's out of the end zone. Now, will it be a safety, or was the penalty against Pittsburgh? No.
The kicking team downfield, number 56.
It's against the Chargers.
It's declined.
What more can go wrong for Dan Henning in San Diego as Tyrone Stowe with a big play on the special teams.
Tyrone Stowe was the man that was illegally downfield in the last punt. He comes back and makes up for it by this great punt block right here.
So another 2 points for Pittsburgh. Be right back to Three Rivers.
Tyrone Stowe, number 90, lines up right in the middle, splits 2 defenders, runs right. Oh, he's got a clear shot at that ball. It's easy if you can get by that and get up that close.
Lewis Lips taking the punt after the safety and returning it out to the 33 near the 34-yard line. It's hit by Cedric Figueroa. So a 26-14 lead now. The Pittsburgh Steelers as they get the ball back after their first safety since 1988 against the Bengals, and those Bengals are coming up next. Second half of our doubleheader on NBC. Boomer and the Bengals out in Southern California taking on John Robinson's Los Angeles Rams.
At the Big A.
And Will McDonough reporting before the game that with Bo Jackson returning to the Los Angeles Raiders next week, Marcus Allen may be dealt away to the Los Angeles Rams.
Well, Al Davis told me early on this year that he offered Marcus Allen to the Rams. The Rams turned it down.
Wanted a first-rounder.
He actually wanted that linebacker, Green.
Pittsburgh calling a timeout. So we'll be right back for the next offensive series. The Steelers by a dozen. 11:37 left. 2 timeouts remaining for each team. The Steelers get it back, first and 10 outside of their own 33-yard line. Chargers came in second in the NFL in sacks. Quarterbacks with 14. Second to the LA Raiders, 17. The ground game's been the key for the Steelers. As soon as I say that, Strom is throwing on first down. Hit Derek Hill for a first down across the 45. Out to the 47. Updating those scores from week number 5. Now a 9-point lead for the Kansas City Chiefs on a field goal by Nick Lowry.
And Houston going up by 7 points over San Francisco. New England all of a sudden leading the Seattle Seahawks by a point. Detroit also coming back, 2017, behind the Vikings.
2 tight end set. Hodge the only one in the backfield. Hodge gets it. And he's got a couple of yards to the 50. Not much room for Merrill Hodge.
Now, this is one of those where you can't find a hole. You just, like, get in behind one of them big guys and hope that they keep pushing forward. Because they had certainly plugged up the middle.
The heat has been held off the Steeler quarterbacks, though, because of Merrill Hodge and Warren Williams effectively running the ball. Worley was out of the game very early. The leg injury. Starting quarterback Bubby Brister was gone late in the first half with bruised ribs. Strom throwing for Warren Williams. Sam Seal defending on the play. Incidental contact, they say.
Pretty good defense by Sam Seal. Sam Seal right there on top of him. Made the receiver run through him to get to the ball. That's good coverage by Sammy Seal. And also a bad pass by Strom. So.
If the draft were to be held tomorrow, Bobby Bethard was telling us yesterday, the general manager of the San Diego Chargers, the cornerback position where he would go first, and offensive line as well. He'd like one more offensive lineman, but he'd like to help out. He feels he's got deficiencies in his secondary.
Well, because of that defensive scheme that they have, they always put these cornerbacks in a lot of man-to-man positions.
The dump off. Richard Bell's got it. He's got a blocker. He's got a first down as well as he's horse collar down by rolling. That hurt from here at the 36-yard line.
Henry Rowland, number 57, just got a chance to hit him way up high. Richard Bell with a nice little swing pass. Now watch Richard Bell just turn on the speed. And right when he starts in full stride, here comes Rowling. Catches him up a little bit high and puts him on the ground. That just looked like it hurt. That didn't hurt too much.
That's easy for you to say about 100 yards away.
That's what didn't I say that it didn't hurt me too much? That's what I meant.
First and 10 in San Diego territory. Steelers after the 36. Strom throwing again on first down. Pocket holds up well. Hodge has it, but nothing doing. Bird, Sayal right on top of the situation. And Hodge has got to get up. They can't afford to lose into the back. He's okay. Junior Sayal, first-round draft choice, a rookie out of USC for the San Diego Chargers.
Came to camp a little bit late. They put him right in the starting lineup. And you see Sayal still staying with that ball. And just making sure that Merrill does not get any further. Sayal, a big, strong man, 6'3", 250 pounds. Came out of school a year early.
And they say what has hurt his development maybe more than anything else. He was an outside linebacker at USC. He had 19 sacks in the senior season. Now they shift him to the inside.
And a lot of people say that before his career is over, they're going to move him back outside and maybe even down to a down lineman to try to utilize his quickness.
Warren Williams taking it down to the 30-yard line, but more importantly for the Steelers and their fans, keeps the clock moving with 8 minutes and 20 seconds left in the fourth. A 26-14 Pittsburgh lead.
Last week at this time, half these people had already headed for the tailgate, headed for their cars. They're staying put right now.
Savoring the developments.
Week to week in that NFL, you got to take them when you get them.
Don't forget the Steelers made the playoffs and were a fumble away from the AFC title game last year, losing to Denver. And they started out last year at 2-3 as well. Hodge has it and takes a hit in the process. Coming up, that was Donald Frank, another rookie out of Winston-Salem State.
Those are those blind shots that you don't want the quarterback to throw you the ball. He's supposed to see for you. You throw a ball like that, that could have been lights out. I think it was just fortunate that Donald Frank hit him low. Those kind of balls, that's the last one you see for the day.
Gary Anderson has already hit a 45-yard field goal attempt today. He's made 17 of his last 21 dating back to last season. 10 straight right here at Three Rivers. This is another 45-yard attempt. Out of the hole for the punter, Straczynski. It's on its way. Plenty of distance. And it's on target. 3 more for Pittsburgh. So the Steelers increase their lead to 15 now, a little bit better than 7 minutes remaining. And don't forget the second game of our doubleheader. The Los Angeles Rams coming off a bye. taking a week off to get ready for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals now at 3-1 after losing the Monday night matchup with the Seattle Seahawks. That's coming up next on NBC. Ahmad, when does the Heat hit a second-year coach who's about to be 1-4? We look at Chuck Nolan, his 22nd season as the Steelers head coach, but Dan Henning working with a very, very young group, and a new general manager taking over as well this year, Bobby Beathard.
He is in a situation where they want to win right now in San Diego, so I think as soon as he took over, it was already warm there. I don't know how, but Dan Henning is a guy, he wants to win right away also, but like we said early on, it's such a young team that everybody is sort of growing together. It's not a situation where you take a guy like Billy Joe Tolliver and you have a veteran offense, you bring a young quarterback in, and hopefully he can grow and you can like live through his mistakes. In this situation, Dan Henning's offense, all of them are young and they're all making mistakes. So it's a tough spot for Henning.
And his offense hasn't done his defense any favors today by taking the pressure off of them, because the defense was out there a long time in the first half. It'll be Donnie Elder out of his own end zone with blockers. Elder across the 35 to the 40, and again Gary Anderson had to help out on that tackle along with Tyrone Stowe.
Gary Anderson have a whale of a day. He's kicked a couple of field goals, made a couple of tackles.
He doesn't want to be in the film room all that often, though. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience, and a rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the NFL is prohibited. So a good return by Donnie Elder.
Anderson, one of these kickers that's a very good athlete. He was a soccer rugby player. You're not afraid to stick that head in there.
Darren Nelson from the backfield. Still, we do not see Ronnie Harmon. Plan B signing for Buffalo. Tolliver throwing it for Early, who hangs on this time. He's got good yardage, and he meets a roadblock. Gary Jones, the rookie from Texas A&M, but he's got the first down at the 36-yard line of Pittsburgh.
You'll see Billy Joe Tolliver looking for Early all the way, and he's been very accurate with his throws. He's just had a lot of drops, and then the no-huddle offense.
Tolliver up top behind Early this time. You mentioned something, looking at Early all the way. Last week saw Randall Cunningham with a couple of beautiful passes where he looked left the whole way and went right, and it almost looked like right was his primary.
A lot of times they'll do that. That's just to create some confusion for the linebackers or a safety. A lot of times safeties play way off and look right at the. Sometimes you have to play little games with the safeties by looking away and then coming back. But if you're not concerned with the safety, it doesn't matter if you look at the guy all the way.
2nd and 10 now. 36-yard line of Pittsburgh. Tolliver with pressure coming, stepping up. And it's through the hands of McEwen, a little bit behind him as well. Tough day for Billy Joe Tolliver. Hardy Nickerson keeping up with the H-back, Craig McEwen. And now a 3rd and 10 situation. Stopping the clock with 6:15 left.
A little bit of pressure put on Tolliver there, and he steps up into the pocket, still trying to find somebody to throw the ball to. He's 10 for 25, 110 yards, and out of that 25, he's had about 7 or 8 of them dropped on him.
3rd and 10. Tolliver buying time. Over for Wilson, but it's out of bounds, incomplete.
Excellent defensive coverage by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had everybody covered. There was no place for Tolliver to throw the ball.
And that was a linebacker, Brian Hinkle, on the wide receiver, Walter Wilson.
Anytime you get a wide receiver on a linebacker, you got to try to go deep. You got to make that guy run. That's the only mismatch that you have. You run a short route, you're playing right into his hands. You want to see if that linebacker can run. Just turn around and go long.
They missed on a 4th down early in the 2nd half. They were down by 17. Making a break, though. Very first play at the 2-yard line for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They fumbled the ball away. That resulted in the 2nd touchdown of the day for the San Diego Chargers. So offensively, San Diego has only been able to come up with 7 points. Their total output of last week's game against the Houston Oilers.
Are they looking at a replay on that last catch? Chuck, no. a little happier about his offense, but it's hard to tell. Chuck looks the same all the time. It looks like it was obvious. And an official standing right on top. They do just a fine job. A lot of times when you see a play like the official's right on top of that.
Tom White is our referee this afternoon. The replay official is Fritz Graff. They are looking at it upstairs right now.
I'm sorry, I said Tony Pateri. Fritz Graff. Tony is also here. I just thought I had to say his name because he's my neighbor in Mount Vernon, New York.
Residuals will be in the mail. 6:06 left. Chargers down by 15.
Chuck Noll, the Rock, and Dan Henning.
After further review, the play stands as called. 4th down.
So now it is 4th and 10. 4th and 10 from the 36-yard line. Pressure coming. Lloyd's got Tolliver. Greg Lloyd coming through on 4th down. He led the Steelers with 7 sacks last season. 3rd year from Fort Valley State.
Billy Joe Tolliver trying to make something happen, looking downfield, but here comes Greg Lloyd, who gets free and just nails Tolliver for a big loss. Also loses the ball, but they get it back, which to no avail because the ball goes over to Pittsburgh. 1st down. Another look at it. Watch Greg Lloyd. He just extends those arms and pulls Tolliver down. Tolliver can't find anybody open.
Warren Williams in the backfield now with Barry Foster, a rookie from Arkansas. And Foster with his first carry of the day, spinning through the Charger territory. 5 yards on the carry to the 47-yard line.
I was talking about Chuck Noll a moment ago, and the way we see Chuck Noll on the sidelines is the way that you see Chuck Noll all the time. And I think there are certain coaches that have such an effect on their team. Even though everybody was down on Pittsburgh saying they had no offense, they couldn't do this or that and the other, Chuck Noll was a guy that never gave up on him. And then I remember last year when they got blown out the first couple of games, Chuck Noll looked the same as he looks right there. He's not going to throw anything out of the window. It's just we just got to get back and do whatever we're doing better. And he is a guy that has been around for so long that he has that effect on his team. It's a calming influence.
Well, those emotional highs and lows that we see from a lot of head coaches you do not see from Chuck Noll. Has always been balanced. Always the same look whether he's winning or losing.
I played for a guy that had that same look, Bud Grant, but little did I know before I got there the reason he looked the same because his face was frozen. That's how cold it was.
It's that long in Minneapolis.
In Minnesota.
Barry Foster again.
I started looking like that after a couple of years.
So that's why you retired, Mike.
Just in time for the dome.
3rd down, still about 5 for the Steelers. As you see, only 4:35 left. They were outscored last year in those first two games, 92-10. And he regrouped to win 5 of the last 6 to make the playoffs.
That's right. Chuck Noll was only 2 losses. Didn't matter what the score was.
Hills in motion. The pitch for Warren Williams. Blockers, he dives for a 1st down. And he fumbles the ball, but they say he was already down. The ground created the fumble.
And the Steelers throwing a little bit of depth in their running back situation. Tim Worley went down, and Warren Williams picked up just where Worley left off and is having a fine day.
This has got to be the most encouraging aspect of the entire game for Chuck Noll and Joe Walton is the ground game.
You know what? They look more enthusiastic about playing now, too, as opposed to last week. Now that people won't have anything to say about Joe Walton wear his hat backwards, that has nothing to do with his cheap shots they used to take at him.
Bobby Beathard had an interesting comparison. When Joe Walton was working with Washington Redskins for a couple of seasons before taking over as the head coach of the New York Jets, he felt that Joe Walton had the most impact upon Joe Theismann as a quarterback, becoming a disciplined quarterback. And he felt the same could apply for Bubby Brister before too long, where Brister doesn't feel like he's got to make the big play on every down. Barry Foster again on the carry. Bengals and the Rams, the second half of our doubleheader on NBC. So the Rams try to put it back together. The Bengals are looking to raise their record to 4-1. Rams missing that rushing attack we've seen so often. John Robinson coach teams. 2nd and 6. Ball at the 36-yard line. Under 3 minutes left. Strom in trouble, and Strom is down for the 2nd time. Only the 2nd sack of the day, though. It goes to Bert Grossman.
And that is a big change for the Pittsburgh quarterbacks. Bubby Brister was sacked 13 times in 4 games.
Well, last year in Pittsburgh, almost became comical and odd. Bubby Brister was sacked 23 times over the first 4. 18 times. The Steeler quarterbacks have been sacked over the first 4 this year, and they said that only Michelangelo spent more time on his back than the Steeler quarterback last year.
I don't get it. what does that mean? Oh, yeah, he's on his back painting.
2 minutes and 13 seconds left. Strom using another timeout. They have 1 remaining.
Be careful telling them intelligent jokes to people. Michelangelo, I thought he was a wrestler.
Been watching too much of that WWF, buddy. Don't forget about golf coming your way. Live final round coverage on October 20th. The Walt Disney World Oldsmobile Golf Classic. Come on, your buddies are going to be there.
That's
Payne
right.
Stewart,
Mark Calcavecchia.
Jim Simpson, the defending
champion. Yeah.
It's over $1.5 million prize money up for grabs. The Walt Disney World Oldsmobile Golf Classic on October 20th. Only on NBC. Beautiful Orlando, Florida. It is always fun to come to Pittsburgh. This is a beautiful city. They have done a phenomenal job with the downtown area. It's great coming to Pittsburgh again. And one certainty you always know when you come to Pittsburgh, it'll be on TV in Pittsburgh. They sell out the season here. Great fans. Support their teams. And a great start for the Penguins the other night. The win on the road of the Washington Capitals. Penguins start their home season tonight at the Igloo, and then a big game. 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon right here at Three Rivers. Game 3 of the LCS. Over the middle, Lewis looks wide open for the first down on 3rd down and long. They're inside the 25, down to the 24. We have reached the 2-minute warning in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers are comfortably in control.
Steelers leading it now by 15 as we reach the 2-minute warning. Welcome back once again, Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. A very important game for the Steelers, Ahmad, for a number of reasons. They wanted to get the offense going, and they have done that. But 2 big road games coming up. Next week in Denver, the following Sunday in San Francisco.
Well, you always got to take them one at a time, but it certainly helps their confidence by going into Denver, having won a football game, and finally getting that offense rolling. But it won't be any easier for them. When they get to Denver, Denver will be ready for them.
1st and 10 for Pittsburgh at the 24 of San Diego. And it's Foster with a huge hole into the secondary. And Vincey Glenn. It's the only reason the Steelers don't have another touchdown with a flag down on the play. Barry Foster, 5th-round draft choice, a rookie out of Arkansas, from Duncanville, Texas.
When you are able to run the ball, you've got a penalty on the play.
5-yard face mask. Number 25, San Diego. It'll be a tackle and penalty. 1st down.
Number 25, Vincey Glenn. There you see Vincey Glenn. He's got his hand. Oh, he's got a big handful of that face mask. But when you can run the ball at a team, sometimes during the end of the game, it starts to break down a defense.
So Glenn injured on the play, also picking up the penalty. Will return to Pittsburgh, but an update now. NFL Live and Bob Costas.
All right, Joel, Tampa Bay was 3-1. Dallas was 1-3. Tampa Bay in the rare situation of being a favorite on the road, but they were upset by the Cowboys. A mild upset, we admit, but an upset nonetheless. Here's the number 1 Cowboy pick, Emmitt Smith, with a 14-yard touchdown run in the 4th quarter. The boys prevail 14-10. Joel?
All right. Thank you, Bob. And the Steelers with 1:53 remaining. Good runs by Barry Foster. 4 in this last series for 22 yards. With it inside the 10-yard line, where it'll be 1st and goal. I'd like to thank our producer, Larry Cirillo, our director, Dick Klein, for the outstanding pictures you've been receiving all afternoon from Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. And Rick Strom has been the quarterback the entire 2nd half for Bubby Brister. Went out with bruised ribs with about 4 minutes remaining in the first 30 minutes of play. He has not made many mistakes. Only that bobbled handoff between Strom and Warren Williams. It was picked up in the backfield, or in the end zone rather, by Les Miller for a San Diego touchdown, their second score of the day. Benzie Glenn, the injured Charger, when he made that stop, he skidded almost to a stop.
He was
2 or 3 yards.
He was skidded. He was forced to skid because he was skidded. It doesn't make any sense. He was skidded. The man hit him and skid him a few more yards, and he got his leg caught up underneath there. But anytime you see a player walking off, it is a very good sign.
Strom and the offense ready to go on 1st and goal from the 7-yard line. Steelers started this drive back at their own 48. They give to Warren Williams. He spins inside the 5 down to the 3, carrying the ball on the inside.
Warren Williams, really an impressive runner. He was just making sure he didn't fumble the ball. He carried it with 2 hands at one point, but once he turned up the field, he put it away, and he is very effective once he starts to go north and south. And he's got very good quickness, very good speed.
So the Pittsburgh Steelers on their way to a 2-3 mark, while the San Diego Chargers will drop to 1-4. A lot expected of the San Diego Chargers. They look like a comer in the second half of last season, especially in week number 15 last year when they upset the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. Will it be another touchdown? Foster, he's in. Steelers have it. The first touchdown of the career of rookie Barry Foster. So the Steelers led it by 10 at halftime. And now with the extra point coming up from Anderson. They go up by 22.
Barry Foster, number 29, a nose for the goal line. Just a straight power play. Here comes Foster. Cuts it back, lands up into the end zone. Once again, see number 77, Carlton Hazelwood pulling. And Barry Foster finds the crack and gets into the end zone. Foster also will have to do some duty here on the special team. But I guarantee you, the man that has got all the work to take is Mr. Anderson, Gary Anderson. Not only kicking field goals, kicking extra points, but making tackles on the kickoff.
So the Steelers with their best day so far this season. They had to win early. Their first win of the year, coming over the Houston Oilers 20-9. But this is the one the offense was looking for. We had a lot of fun out here yesterday, Ahmad, at the walkthrough. Double fun, because the Pirates were also out here. And it was a great atmosphere. The Steelers were loose. They felt like good things were going to happen for them the next day, as they have for Joe Walton, the offensive coordinator of Pittsburgh. But the Pirates just looked like a great team in the LCS against the Cincinnati Reds as Gary Anderson's ready to kick it away. Come back with a split from Cincinnati. They were sky high. It'll be taken by Donnie Elder. And Elder, a moment of indecision cost him as he's out to the 28-yard line for a final try for the San Diego Chargers offensively. Jerry Olszewski making the stop.
That was an interesting day yesterday to see the field full of football players and baseball players, and Barry Bonds overthrowing footballs instead of baseballs, telling me about his high school career when he used to run back punts. He said he was the best. He has certainly been one of the best baseball players in the entire Major League Baseball this past year.
Billy Joe Tolliver stays in there at quarterback with exactly 60 seconds left. Trips on the far side for Tolliver. Pressure from Hardy Nickerson. Check that. It's Kenny Davidson, the rookie from LSU, 64, not 54, and another stack for the Steelers. It's a young man that Chuck Noll talked about yesterday who's got great speed up front for them, and he'd like to find more time for Davidson. a sack and a loss of 11 yards. 2nd and 21 for Tolliver. More pressure. And it's dropped by his H-back, Craig McEwen, but there is a flag down on the play. Coming way back. Artie Nickerson was defending. Holding call against the Steelers. We mentioned yesterday how great it was to be here in Pittsburgh at Three Rivers.
54 defense.
Bobby Bonilla.
First down.
Steelers going through their walkthrough with the Pirates. Andy Van Slyke trading a bat with Tom Ricketts, the offensive lineman. Andy Van Slyke, an outstanding outfielder.
Who's the smarter of those two athletes?
There's the MVP in the National League this year. Pretty good form we saw yesterday from Barry Bonds. Tolliver throwing on first down from the 21. Automatic first down on the defensive holding. Darren Nelson can't hold it.
Tolliver's had such a tough time. He has been pretty accurate with his throws today, and he just had a lot of drops. You know, there's nothing more frustrating for a quarterback. You know, when you deliver the ball and the guy's dropping, he's done his part by throwing it out there to you. You got to do your part by catching it. And it's just a sinking feeling inside of an offensive huddle when everybody blocks, everybody holds out, the quarterback throws the ball, and the receiver drops it.
2nd and 10 now from the 21. 36 seconds left. And when nothing goes right underneath, it sure isn't going to open up things downfield for Anthony Miller. He's got the catch. He's close to the first down marker. But they have not been able to really get the ball downfield to their best wide receiver.
No, they certainly haven't. And the thing is, though, when you have a player like Anthony Miller, he makes it possible for all the other receivers to get open, and they've been getting open, but they just haven't been able to hold on to the ball.
First down for the Chargers outside of the 31. This celebration is continuing in Pittsburgh. They got their 2nd win of the season, and more importantly, as it's intercepted for the 2nd time today by Dwayne Woodruff. Woodruff looking like a tailback. Brought down by Quinn Early from behind inside the 30, and that will do it.
Dwayne Woodruff having a great day today, and he is the veteran cornerback. And see, Chuck Noll, they're leading.
Boy, does he look excited.
The offense played well, and he's the same.
He is very consistent.
Joe Walton, a little pressure off of Joe. He's hitting. It's a tough spot to be in.
So the Steelers have it back for a snap. The Chargers will not stop the clock, and it is all over. The offense finally got a touchdown. They got more than one as they came through in a big way for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The ground game the key, though, for Chuck Noll's Steelers. Bubby Brister. It'll be yet determined whether he'll be back in time for next week's game at Denver.
Joe Walton, a happy Joe Walton, trotting off the field.
So a 22-point win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll be right back to wrap things up at Three Rivers Stadium after these messages from your local station.